Good morning, students. In this session, we are going to continue our discussion on the chapter Nutrition in Animals. But before we go ahead with the chapter, let us take a quick recap of what we have discussed in the first session. In the first session, we had discussed about animal nutrition, which includes nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and its utilization in the body. When we discussed about nutrients, we discussed carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. These are made from large molecules and which are in turn made up of smaller molecules which are linked together. Now, these large molecules do not dissolve in water and hence cannot pass through the lining of the digestive system of the body. Hence, you understand the need of digestion. What happens in digestion? These bigger molecules or the larger molecules are broken down into simpler, smaller molecules which can dissolve in water and which can pass through the wall of the digestive system. Do you know that these carbohydrates are made up of elements like carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen? Whereas the proteins, these are also made from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but along with that it has got one more element and that is nitrogen. Fats, these are made from large number of carbon and hydrogen atoms which are linked together into long chains together with few oxygen atoms as well. Now, vitamins, when we talk about vitamins, unlike carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, which are needed by the body in large amount, vitamins are needed in only small amounts. These are required in only small amounts. Now, fibers, when we talk about fibers don't get digested in the body, but it helps in the defecation of the undigested food. Now, why is water important? Can you tell why water is important for us? Yes, water is important because 70% of the body's weight is due to water, and all this digested food, as you say, can dissolve in water. Means the simpler molecules can dissolve in water, and so the cells can work properly if you drink proper amount of water. Later on, we discussed about the mode of intake of food of different animals, and here we have seen that different animals have got special structures for taking food inside the body. We have discussed about bee, hummingbird, butterfly, then snakes, as well as for mammals, then starfish, housefly, mosquito, lice, as well as for eagle. We tabulated the name of the animal, the kind of food it requires, and the mode of feeding in that particular animal. So here we had discussed about snail, ant, eagle, hummingbird, lice, mosquito, butterfly, housefly, and these kind of food and the mode of feeding. A very important and interesting aspect of animal nutrition is the utilization of food by the body. Here, we discussed that the complex substances like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals cannot be utilized as it is by the body. So, they are broken down into simpler substances. Only when the nutrients are broken down into simpler substances, the cells in our body can use them either to release energy or use them for growth. So it is to be understood that we can get energy from food, or it can cause growth or repair only when the complex food which we eat gets converted into simple substances. And now understand that this conversion of complex food into simple substance takes place inside our body. And this process of converting or breaking down complex food into simple and soluble forms is what is known as digestion. Today, we are going to start our discussion on the topic digestion in humans. Before we go on to discuss digestion in detail, understand that our nutrition involves different steps. And what are these different steps? The first one is ingestion. In this process, food is taken inside the body of an organism. As you know, we use our hands to put the food inside our mouth. So that is ingestion. The second step of nutrition is digestion, which is a very important process. Once the food is inside our body, then only digestion starts. As we know, our food comes from tissues of animals and plants. It contains carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, and vitamins. Now, these are in the form of long chain molecules as discussed, and hence they must be broken down into smaller molecules that dissolve in water and can pass through the wall of the digestive tract. Now, this process of making food into a form that can be taken into the body is what is known as digestion. Now, it takes place in the digestive system, which is made up of alimentary canal and organs such as liver and pancreas. We are going to discuss about this today. Now, the third step of nutrition is utilization of food. The digested nutrients are taken to different parts of the body through blood. The cells in the body then absorb these digested food molecules. These absorbed food molecules are then used for producing energy and growth. So after digestion, the food is utilized for producing energy and growth. The last and the fourth step of nutrition is egestion. Now this is a process of removing undigested food material from the body. That is what is known as egestion. So have you understood the different steps in nutrition? Ingestion, digestion, then utilization, and lastly egestion. So let us first understand the different parts of the digestive tract, which is called the alimentary canal. In an adult, it is about 8 to 9 meter long. The food passes through a continuous canal which begins at the buccal cavity, that is the mouth, and ends at the anus, which is the last part of this alimentary canal. As you can see in the picture, the alimentary canal can be divided into various compartments. The first is the buccal cavity or the mouth. Here you can see the structure of mouth given in the picture. Here, physical and chemical breakdown of food starts. Now, what do you mean by physical breakdown? When you chew your food with the help of your teeth, you are breaking it down into smaller and smaller particles. So, this is physical breakdown. Now, when we talk about chemical breakdown, when you chew your food, it mixes with saliva. Some chemical reactions take place and the food is broken down into simpler particles or simpler molecules. So this is chemical breakdown of food. Next is esophagus, or what is known as food pipe. You can see that when you swallow the chewed food, the bolus slides gradually down your gullet, which is a tube connecting the mouth to the stomach. So this long tube is what is called as food pipe or a gullet or esophagus. Stomach. The next part is the stomach. Can you see here in the picture? This is U-shaped bag-like structure. You can also see the enlarged structure over here. This is stomach. It is placed on our left hand side. Now in the picture you may find it on the right hand side, but this is in the diagram. This side is the left side and the other side is the right hand side. So every time when you see this picture, understand which is your left side. The food from the esophagus enters into stomach. Now the food gets further digested here due to the churning action of the stomach. The next part is the small intestine. Now here is the small intestine, the coiled tube here. This is a site of complete digestion of food. You can see the enlarged figure of this small intestine over here. The small intestine is a long tube of about 7.5 meters long. Don't you wonder, if it is so long, why is it named small intestine? The reason for this is, though small intestine is about 7.5 meter long, its diameter is very small. You can see this narrow tube-like structure which is coiled so many times and adjusted in a small place, right? So this is what is small intestine. Later on, we will see what is this yellow colored part here. It is given color in the figure for your understanding. The large intestine is only about 1.5 meter long. Now, if it is only 1.5 meter long, why it is named a large intestine? This is so because it has got a bigger diameter as compared to small intestine. The undigested food from the small intestine enters the large intestine. Here, no digestion takes place. Digestion is already over in small intestine. So in the large intestine, this you can see the enlarged picture over here, the brown part in this figure. The absorption of water takes place here in the large intestine. Its last part, the last part of the large intestine is rectum, where the feces are stored, and after that the end part is anus, from where the undigested food is removed from the body. That is the anus. So you understand how this alimentary canal, or what is known as digestive tract, in the figure. You can all practice drawing this diagram and labeling it. Do you know that per year we take nearly 500 kgs of food, and this tract is able to digest the food properly. That is, it breaks down the food into simpler molecules and gives us plenty of energy and brings about growth. Let us try to find out what is the role of these glands which are associated with the digestive tract. Now understand that only a digestive tract, or what we call alimentary canal, cannot digest the food we eat. It needs the help of salivary glands, the liver, and pancreas as well. So these are important because these glands secrete digestive juices to complete the digestion of all the components of food which we eat. That is, to convert complex food into simple ones. So, which are the three glands here? The salivary gland. There are three glands here. Three glands, as you can see in the picture. There are three pairs of salivary glands in our mouth which play a role in digestion. Also, pancreas and liver. I'll tell you about gallbladder when we discuss about liver. So, let us go one by one. First, the salivary glands. Where are these located? These are located of course in the mouth cavity, that is what is called as buccal cavity. Now there are three pairs of salivary glands in our mouth. These glands produce saliva and delivers it to the mouth through tubes and ducts. You know, we produce 1.7 liters of saliva each day. So, saliva in our mouth is actually 99% of water. But it also contains a slimy substance called mucin and an enzyme known as amylase. So it contains enzyme. For now you think about that it produces enzyme, and this enzyme is capable of breaking down starch into glucose. So after chewing the food, suppose you are eating boiled rice, and after chewing, will it contain starch? You can check this. You can just add iodine solution to the chewed rice, and you will find that it doesn't get converted into a blue black color. This is the reaction we had done in chapter 1 to check the presence of starch. Now this starch from rice gets converted into sugar, and so if you check for iodine or check for the starch, you will not find starch, right? So the next one is liver. The liver is a reddish brown gland. Can you see this in the picture here? It is a reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. As I've always told, this is the right side and this is the left side. So liver is placed on the right hand side. It is the largest gland of the body. It secretes a green liquid called bile. So bile is the liquid which is secreted by the liver. What is the color of that bile juice? It is green in color. This bile juice is stored in a sac called gallbladder. Now this is a sac, a small sac. Can you see in the figure? Yes. Now the liver produces the bile juice, and this juice is stored in gallbladder, which is a sac-like structure. Now, what is the role? What is the use of this bile juice? Bile juice helps in the digestion of fats. Let us now see what is the role of pancreas here. Now, pancreas, as you can see in the figure, it's actually a cream colored gland. Here it is given a different color for you to locate. It is located just below the stomach. Can you spot the stomach? The U-shaped stomach, and below it is pancreas. It produces pancreatic juice. Now this pancreatic juice acts on proteins, carbohydrates and fats and changes into simple forms. Simple forms. Carbohydrates into glucose, fats into fatty acids, proteins into amino acids. We are going to discuss this in detail, but for now, have you understood these three glands which are playing a very important role in the process of digestion? The digestive tract, that is the alimentary canal, and associated glands together constitute the digestive system. Here in the figure, you can see the complete digestive system, which is capable of digesting all the food that we eat. And you see the main structure of the digestive tract here, the mouth, then esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, the large intestine, the rectum, and the anus. And this alimentary canal is supported by three glands. And where are these three glands? See here in the mouth, you can see the salivary glands. Then on the right hand side, you can see liver. On the left hand side, it is given this pancreas, but it is present where it is present. It is present below the stomach. So these three glands, salivary glands, liver, and pancreas, these help the digestive tract in digesting the food, and together it is known as the digestive system. Today, while learning about the digestion in humans, we have discussed about what is digestion. It is actually the breakdown of complex components into simple substances, because our body is not capable of utilizing the complex food as it is. It becomes necessary to convert it into simple substances, and this process is known as digestion. The different steps of nutrition that you have understood today are ingestion, that is taking in the food, digestion, converting it into simpler form, then utilization means using it for producing energy and growth, and lastly the egestion, which is removing or the removal of the undigested food from the body. The parts of the digestive tract which we have seen through diagram, the pictures, are mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. And the large intestine ends at anus, through which the digestion process is carried out. Through mouth, ingestion process is carried out. And stomach, small intestine, these are the sites for digestion. You have understood that small intestine is a site for complete digestion. The food gets completely digested here. Lastly, we have seen the importance of glands which are associated with the digestive tract, and these glands are important because they produce some enzyme which help in the digestion. The three types of glands which we have discussed are salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. Salivary glands are three in number, all of which are situated in the mouth. Liver is situated on our right hand side, and the bile juice which it secretes is stored in a bag called as gallbladder, whereas pancreas, it also secretes some pancreatic juice which is helpful for the digestion.